Alright, Pyromaniac 720 here, and I have Top Cut from Springfield Premier Challenge that I went to today. So, I'm playing Professor Shroomish, also known as, his real name is Zach Carlson, also known as. So I had trouble with him in my first matchup. I did have an unfortunate flinch in there, but I mean, even without that flinch, I was still in trouble because he just kind of overwhelmed me from the start. I had troubles with him the week before in West Hartford. He ended up beating me in round 4 of Swiss. So I knew I had to be on my A game and play really smart in order to beat him. So let's see how I end up doing. So I bring Malamar to this game. Malamar is something I have not brought to any of my matches yet. Also, I haven't brought. Oh no, I did bring. I brought Hydreigon to one match, but Malamar Hydreigon I kind of really haven't been using in this tournament. So I lead Talonflame and Rotom Heat. My logic here is that we're both going to Tailwind. I almost double targeted Smeargle, figuring that he figured I would expect Spiky Shield since that's what he did game 1. So yeah, we both Tailwind. So I mean now basically our Tailwinds cancel each other out. And he reveals, oh no, he goes for the Dark Void. Of course, Rotom Heat protects itself, so doesn't go to sleep, and Talonflame does go to sleep. So at this point, he's hit, like 3 out of 3 Dark Voids or whatever. He goes for the Brave Bird. So I found out, my Talonflame is 252 Jolly, so obviously the max he can have is what I have, and he somehow won every single speed tie, so I'm starting to think maybe for some reason mine isn't 5 IV. I don't really know what's going on with that, but it's a little annoying. So Talonflame, of course, already asleep, and now he hits a 4th Dark Void. So at this point, I'm figuring he's bound to start missing Dark Void. Law of averages says he's going to eventually start missing, whereas it's only 80% accuracy. So I leave Talonflame in to die. No point taking it out. And I once again lose the speed ties. That's 3 straight speed ties I've lost to his Talonflame. He gets a little bit of damage from Recoil and Life Orb. So he uses Endeavor, which doesn't affect Rotom, which is nice. So I bring in Kangaskhan. And I, of course, Mega Ball my Kangaskhan. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking, I need to protect and hope I wake up and hope something good happens. So he uses Spiky Shield. Probably because I don't know what he was expecting me to do. But I also protect, so no harm, no foul on that play. So this next turn was really huge. He thought that I was Jolly and was going to outspeed him, so he went for a double Spiky Shield to get his Tailwind back up. But it fails. I am adamant 252, so he does outspeed me. But it doesn't matter now, and I don't think he realized that. I told him after our set that was the case. And so I pick up the KO here with Return, which is huge and puts the match, it really puts the match in my favor at this point. And I believe Rotom ends up waking up, and I end up getting off the Thunderbolt. So Rotom wakes up, hits Talonflame with Thunderbolt, easy KO. So at this point, I'm up 3-2. I know he's got Tyranitar in the back, but I'm not too worried about Tyranitar because I have Hammer Arm. And he has Azumarill. So at this point in the battle, I was expecting him to protect with Tyranitar knowing I had Hammer Arm. So I go for the double target on Azumarill. And also, I forgot that Tailwind was up. So I was a little surprised when he outsped me with Play Rough this turn, but then I remembered that it was up. So I go Thunderbolt, and I go Return on Azumarill. Azumarill, however, does get the very clutch attack drop from Play Rough, so that of course neuters some of the damage. Of course, obviously that double Rock Slide miss was huge, just because I had no chance to flinch, which was really, really big. So then I hit it with a Thunderbolt, and I end up picking up the KO, which was nice. This Rotom, it was my Rotom Wash that I just changed the Heat form before the tournament since I didn't have time to re-EV it. So I wasn't really sure if it was going to pick up the KO because I normally have specs on this Pokemon. So now I'm just trying to minimize damage. So I end up going for a Protect and a Will-O-Wisp, hoping that I don't flinch. So he does get a critical hit, but luckily I survive at 5 HP. I don't flinch, and I hit the Will-O-Wisp. So everything went right for me that turn, and I don't die to sand damage because, of course, I have safety goggles. So at this point, I have the match pretty much locked up, assuming he doesn't, have a whole bunch of Rock Slide crits. So I go for the Thunderbolt on his Tyranitar. Does he miss? Racks up a little bit of chick damage. However, Kangaskhan does flinch, which, like I said, really sucks. So at this point, I go for another. Hammer Arm. At this point, I was almost Sucker Punched, knowing that he was going to outspeed me, and thinking that I was going to get KO'd by the Rock Slide. But luckily, that did not happen. So I end up not flinching, not getting KO'd, and I luckily don't miss Hammer Arm, so easy KO. I did have Malamar in the back with Superpower, so I wasn't really too concerned, unless he had, like 7 straight Rock Slide flinches. I pretty much had that match locked up at that point. So that was game 1 of our final top cut, so stay tuned for game 2.